find a comfortable seat. I'm sitting in Sukhasana, easy pose. Simple cross-legged posture. If this is uncomfortable for you, you can start in any comfortable seated position, so long as the spine is nice and tall. Be sure to pull the flesh away from the sit bones so that you're starting with your nice stable foundation. Begin to draw the navel in towards your spine. Let the crown of the head reach towards the ceiling. Bring the shoulder blades together and down the back and place the hands on the thighs, palms down, and close your eyes. Start to become aware of your breath, allowing the breath to flow in through the nose and out through the nose. Just starting to bring the awareness inward, tuning out any distractions like noises coming from the other room or thoughts running through your head. Then start to bring the breath into balance by making the inhale the same length as the exhale. So if you inhale for a count of 4, you would exhale for a count of 4. If you inhale for a count of 6, you would exhale for a count of 6, and so on. With each inhale, allow the spine to lengthen. And as you exhale, keep the length in the spine, but just begin to soften the body. Relax the jaw, relax the shoulders. As you sit and breathe, I'm going to talk a little bit about Ahimsa. So often in class, you'll hear me talk about the limbs of yoga, the 8 limbs of yoga. And typically in our class, we experience asana, which is the poses, pranayama, breath control. Sometimes we will do a dharana practice, that's also a limb of yoga, as is dhyana, or meditation. But today, we're going to talk about another limb. There are the yamas. And the yamas are essentially an ethical way of living, an ethical code of conduct that a yogi follows. And the first yama is called Ahimsa. And Ahimsa translates to non-harming. So I'll just read a little bit about that from the book, The Heart of Yoga. The word himsa means injustice or cruelty. But ahimsa is more than simply the absence of himsa. Ahimsa is more than just a lack of violence. It means kindness, friendliness, and thoughtful consideration of other people and things. We must exercise judgment when thinking about ahimsa. It means we must always behave with consideration and attention to others. Ahimsa also means acting in kindness towards ourselves. In every situation, we should adopt a considered attitude. That is the meaning of Ahimsa. So in this book, Jessica Char says that Ahimsa doesn't necessarily mean you're a vegetarian. But there are some schools of yoga that interpret it a little differently. For instance, Dharma yoga, which I absolutely love. To be a true Dharma yogi, you're vegan because they base their whole practice on Ahimsa. and they feel that eating animals is creating suffering. So that's their school. The school that I studied under really talked more about, with regards to food, eating locally. So that's a personal thing for everyone. When I think about food and ahimsa, I try to really think about what I put in my body and what that does to me. Is that harming me? If I eat a bunch of junk food, how do I feel after that? Pretty bad. It's not good for me. So eating that type of food is certainly not yogic. It's not practicing ahimsa. But if I eat things that are good for my body, that fuel me, then it's different. When we think about ourselves, looking in a mirror, how many times do you look in a mirror and think a bad thought about yourself? That's not practicing ahimsa. That's harming to you, because the thoughts that you think are just as powerful as hearing the words from someone else. When we interact with other people, do we practice ahimsa, non-harming? Or are we doing things that are potentially harming to other people? These are the types of things that we really need to think about as people and as yogis, to practice ahimsa. To practice ahimsa is practicing yoga, just like being in down dog is practicing yoga, or doing our dharana practice or pranayama practice is yoga. In India, from what I've learned, when people get to be maybe in their 40s or 50s, they start to move away from the asana part of the practice and move more towards pranayama, meditation, because as some of us know, as we get older, the body can't really do the things it used to do. So when we practice, I want you to remember ahimsa today. If you're in a yoga pose and there's pain, it's no longer yoga because it's harmful. It's creating pain. Now, if you're in a yoga pose and it's uncomfortable because you're using those muscles, that's a little different. That's okay. But as soon as we kind of go past that line and go into something that's beyond us, that causes pain or could cause an injury, we're no longer practicing yoga because we're not practicing ahimsa. So just think about that for a few moments, and I'll remind you of that as we go through our practice to check in with yourself and make sure that you are practicing ahimsa. And then as you go through your day, you can incorporate that with everything that you do. So we will get started. Let's breathe to bring the hands to the heart in Anjali Mudra, and we'll breathe together 3 times. On the 3rd exhale, we'll share the sound of Om. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose, and exhale through the nose. Inhale, and exhale. For the 3rd time together, inhale. Bow your head. Place the hands on the thighs. Softly open your eyes, looking forward. So we're going to start today with our arms by our sides. As you inhale, arms come up overhead. And then as you exhale, arms come back down by your sides. So you're moving with your breath at your own pace. Now, many people have shoulder injuries. And if lifting and lowering the arms were to cause you pain, then you would stop lifting and lowering the arms to practice ahimsa, and you would just focus on your breath. The next time the arms are up overhead, allow the palms to come together to touch. As you exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Place the left hand behind the left hip and take the right hand to the top of the left knee. Root down through your sit bones. Inhale, create length in your spine. And then as you exhale, begin to twist to the left, starting at the belly, moving up to the ribs, the chest, the shoulders. And if it's okay for the neck, the head can turn. Breathe here. Root down through the sit bones. Inhale, grow tall. As you exhale, begin to come back to center, starting with the head, followed by the shoulders, the chest, the ribs, and the belly. Take the right hand behind the right hip. Left hand comes to the top of that right knee. Root down through the sit bones. Inhale, grow tall. As you exhale, begin to twist to your right. Root down through the sit bones. Inhale, grow tall. Slowly come back to center. As you inhale, arms reach up. And then as you exhale, you're going to start hinging from the hips. Not bending the back, just hinging from those hips. When you go as far as you can, bring your hands down to the floor. Then, as you inhale, create length in your spine. And as you exhale, maybe you can walk those hands out a little further. So we inhale, create length. Exhale, hinge. Only going to your maximum here, no one else's. Everyone's body is different. Start to walk the hands back towards the body. And then we'll switch the cross of the legs. Readjust the sit bones. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hinge from the hips. Again, when you feel the back wanting to start to round, bring your hands down to your mat or the floor. As you inhale, create length. And then exhale, perhaps you can walk your hands out a little farther. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, hinge. Start to walk your hands back towards your body, coming back to Sukhasana, easy pose. We're going to come to all fours, hands and knees. So as many of you know, I deal with some knee issues, and some days when I'm teaching virtually, we don't do anything on the hands and the knees. And when I'm in my public classes, my students know that a lot of times I'll say, I'm not going to do this part because of my knees. And that's because I'm practicing Ahimsa. Now today, I took a couple days off of knee stuff, so I'm feeling pretty good. So I can come to all fours. Every moment is different. You know, you could have done a pose 100 times, fine. And then one day it doesn't feel good. So you skip it that day. So we find ourselves all fours, hands and knees. Take a breath in. As you exhale, shift the hips to the heels, the chest to the thighs, coming to extended child's pose. Elbows extended out nice and long. Elbows lifted up off the ground, arms extended out nice and long. As you inhale, arms reach up. Can you guys tell I've had no coffee today? Exhale, back to child's pose. Inhale up, all fours. So now you will continue to move with your breath, inhaling up and exhaling back. You're moving with your breath at your own pace. The next time you come back to child's pose, pause there. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, start to walk your hands out to the left. So you're going to be bowing out your right ribs. To deepen the stretch, you could take your right hand and place it on top of the left hand. Breathe into the right ribs. Start to walk those hands back to center. And on the next exhale, we walk the hands out to the right. This time, bowing out those left ribs. And then bring the hands back to center and come up to all fours, hands and knees. On the next inhale, the right arm sweeps out parallel to your mat. The thumb points to the sky, fingers reach to the space in front of you. If it's okay for you, the left leg sweeps out parallel to your mat. Reach through the heel, bring your navel in towards your spine, gaze down at your mat, and breathe. Lower the right hand, lower the left knee. Take a moment, shift back to child's pose, and then as you inhale, come back up all fours. On the next inhale, the left arm sweeps out parallel to your mat. And if it's okay for you, the right leg sweeps out behind you. I'm not going to lift my right leg today because that'll put a little too much pressure on my left knee. So I'm practicing Ahimsa. Breathe here. Lower the left hand, lower the right knee. Take a moment, shift back to child's pose, and bring yourself back up, all fours. So now, from all fours, you're going to sweep that right arm up towards the ceiling, and then as you exhale, sweep the right arm back down as you thread the needle through that left arm, left side body. You'll bring your right shoulder and right side of the head to the mat. So we want to be mindful of the neck here. We don't want to put all of our weight in our neck. So you have your left hand where it is. You can keep that there to help keep some of that weight out of the neck. Or if you're okay, you can sweep that left arm up towards the ceiling. Either way is fine. Lower the left hand, press the floor away, come back to all fours, hands and knees. On the next inhale, that left arm sweeps up towards the ceiling, and as you exhale, it sweeps back down as you thread the needle through the right arm, right side body. So the left shoulder, left side of the head come to the mat. You can keep your right hand where it is, or reach the right arm up towards the ceiling. Lower the right hand back to the mat. Press the floor away. Shift back to child's pose and rest. So we've been learning a lot about yoga philosophy as we go through these classes, and we've learned things like asana as a comfortable, steady posture, ahimsa, our postures should be non-harming. We're maintaining a balanced breath, which is our pranayama. There's a lot going on. If you don't remember all of the things when you practice, it's okay because you're human. And that is why we practice. So if you have a class where you're really focusing on Ahimsa and you forget about the breath, it's okay. We practice again the next time. Maybe you'll remember that time. Maybe you won't. But we're kind to ourselves because we're practicing Ahimsa. We're not hard on ourselves because we forgot when to do the inhale or exhale in yoga. I hope that all makes sense. So let's come back up to all fours, hands and knees. From here, we'll begin to move into downward facing dog. So from all fours, curl those toes under. Start to shift the hips towards your heels. Your knees lift just a little bit and then press back through those heels. Straightening the legs as much as you can, but not worrying about if they're completely straight. So in downward facing dog, our hips point to the back of the room where the wall meets the ceiling. The head relaxes and is drawn towards the ground. The chest is drawn towards your thighs, heels towards the floor. Relax here. See if you can soften into the pose. Start to bend the knees. Go back down into child's pose. And then as you inhale, come back up all fours, hands and knees. And we'll do that again. Curl the toes under. Start to shift the hips towards your heels. Knees lift just a little bit as you press back. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, sweep that right leg out behind you and just rotate the right ankle. Lower the right foot. Sweep that left leg out behind you. Rotate the left ankle. Then begin to walk the hands towards your feet, coming to Uttanasana, forward fold. It's perfectly fine to have a bend in the knee in this pose. You could even put blocks or something else under the hands to bring the floor closer to you. Relax the head and neck. Place the hands on your hips, press down through the feet and unhinge, coming up to Tadasana, mountain pose. So in mountain pose, the feet are like an 11. Our feet are femur width apart, and the knees are soft. So we've got to keep the knees soft. I'm learning that, not necessarily in yoga, but when I work out, I really lock my knees, and I think that might be part of my issue. So consciously relax the knees. Hips are stacked on knees, knees stacked on ankles. Crown of the head reaches tall. Pelvis is in neutral, so you're going to tuck that tailbone, draw the navel in. Arms are by your sides. As you inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, fold forward, hinging from those hips. Fingertips come down to the ground. As you inhale, come back or come halfway up, flat back. And then as you exhale, fold forward. Place your hands on your hips. Press down through the feet, unhinge, coming back to Tadasana. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, fold forward. As you inhale, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold. This time, to come out of the pose, press down through those feet. Arms start to lift first. Once they're in line with the ears, use the core. Bring yourself all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, folding forward. As you inhale, come halfway up to a flat back. Exhale, fold. So now you can choose how to come out of the forward bend. You could place your hands on your hips or press down through the feet. Arms start to lift first. When they're in line with the ears, use the core. Come all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. One more time. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, fold forward. As you inhale, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold. So again, you can choose how to come out of the pose. Hands on the hips is a little more gentle. Bring yourself all the way up. Nice job. Next, we're going to move into chair pose, Utkatasana. So for chair pose, again, we start in Tadasana, mountain pose. Nice soft knees. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, bend the knees. Sit on the edge of your chair. Take a breath in. As you exhale, you're going to slide your hips back. So I do a baby chair. I don't bend my knees too much. You can bend your knees more if that's okay for you. So you might start to feel those thighs burning. Bring the awareness to the breath. Move it away from the thighs. Arms are strong and active, or a more gentle option, hands on hips. Press down through the feet, bring yourself all the way up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold. Once again, you can choose how to come out of the pose. We'll all meet in Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, arms reach up. Bend the knees, sit on the edge of your chair. Take a breath in. As you exhale, you'll slide those hips back. Breathe here. Utkatasana also is referred to as fierce pose. Press down through those feet. Come all the way up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, fold. Press down through those feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands come to your heart. One more time. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, bend those knees. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, slide those hips back. Breathe. Press down through the feet. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, fold forward. So we're going to stay in the forward fold for a few moments. Really relax the head and neck. Your head is heavy. And if you really let it go, it will deepen that forward bend. To take it a step further, you can take your arms behind your calves. So you line your forearm up with your calves. Hold on to those ankles. Relax the head and neck here. Bring the hands back to the ground in front of you. Place your hands on your hips, press down through the feet, and bring yourself up. Good job. So we're going to take a nice wide stance on the mat. To start, the feet are parallel, so they look like an 11. But then we're going to turn the toes of both feet out so that they're pointing to the top corners of the mat. Place your hands on your hips. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to start to bend your knees. And again, I'm not going to go very far because of my knees, practicing Ahimsa. Breathe here. Remember, if you feel pain, come out of it. It's not worth it to hurt yourself. Then we're going to bring our arms like goalpost arms. Turn the palms to face you. Turn the palms to face the sky. And then you're just going to unbend the elbows just a little bit. This is pose of the goddess. Bring those shoulder blades together. Focus on your breath. Press down through those feet. Straighten the legs. Lower the arms. Bring your feet to parallel. As you inhale, arms reach up. As you exhale, hinge forward. Relax the head and neck here. So place your hands on the ground. Start to walk your hands towards your right foot as you pivot on the balls of the feet to face the front of your room. And then we're going to step that right foot back to plank. And you can have your knees up or down here. One of the, I don't know if it's a perk or not, but with knees like mine, I can't put them down. So I have to have a nice strong core to keep them up. If your knees are up, float forward to the tops of the toes. And then we'll all start to bend those elbows, slowly lowering all the way down to the ground. Cross the forearms in front of you, rest your forehead. Bend your knees and let the legs sway from side to side. Let the legs become still. Lower them down to the mat. Bring your arms by your sides. The palms face the ceiling. As you inhale, the head, chest, and arms simultaneously lift up off of the mat. And then as you exhale, they lower. Inhale, head, chest, arms lift. Exhale, lower. Continue lifting and lowering using your breath to guide you. Resist the urge to look forward when you come up. You want to keep the back of the neck nice and long here in Ardha Shalabhasana, half locust pose. So most of us have experienced low back pain at some point in our life, but it could be for different reasons. Some of us are more flexible and can get injuries from taking things beyond the normal range of motion. For people like that, this pose usually feels really good. So lift and lower one more time. Cross the forearms in front of you. Rest the forehead. But some people have low back issues due to compression. And this pose compresses the spine. So for some people with low back pain, this is very therapeutic. For some people with low back pain, we need to skip it because it exacerbates the problem. And that is why this is your practice. I'm here to guide you, but it's your personal practice, so you choose the poses that are right for you. Come back down, forearm to the mat, or forehead to the mat. This time we'll add the legs. As you inhale, head, chest, arms, and legs simultaneously lift up off of the mat. As you exhale, they lower. Inhale, head, chest, arms, legs, lift. Exhale, lower, lift and lower 3 more times. When you finish, just come on down, cross those forearms in front of you, rest the forehead. Take your time if you're still in the pose. If you're finished and your head is on your mat, you can just bend the knees and rotate the ankles. Reverse the direction of that ankle rotation. Let the ankles become still. Lower the legs to the mat. Roll over onto your back and hug your knees into the chest. You can rock gently side to side. Become still. Place the soles of the feet on the ground. Bring your arms by your sides. The palms face the floor. From here, you're going to press down through your feet, and as you inhale, the hips lift. On the exhale, the hips lower. You're moving with your breath at your own pace. Inhale, hips lift. Exhale, hips lower. Dynamic bridge pose, dynamic Setu Bandha. This pose can release low back strain, and we did a lot of forward bending, and sometimes forward bending can, I say, make your back start talking to you or cause a little bit of discomfort. And this pose helps to counterbalance that. This is also a nice pose to help build some core strength. We have muscles that go right on either side of our spine. You can't see them. So when people are at the gym doing a lot of core work, a lot of times they're focusing on the muscles that you can see, the six pack. But those muscles that are right up against the spine, those are the ones that are going to give you spinal stability and really make you strong from the inside. So the next time we lift the hips, we're going to hold the hips up. So we're just holding the pose, not holding the breath. Make sure the weight is not in your neck. Inhale and exhale are equal. If you need to come out of the pose before I say so, please do. Slowly start to lower the hips to the mat. Hug the knees into the chest. You can rock gently from side to side here. Become still. Keep your knees hugged into the chest. Arms come out like a T, palms face the ceiling. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, begin to twist to the left. So you're tipping those legs over to the left. Left leg comes down to the mat. Right leg rests on top of it. If you have blocks, you can use them in any way to support your body if you'd like. You can close your eyes here and just watch the breath flow in through the nose and out through the nose. Start to draw the knees back towards the chest, coming onto your back. And on the next exhale, you'll tip the legs over to the right. Right leg comes to the ground, left leg can rest on top of it. Focus on the breath. Bring the knees back to the chest. Keep the arms out like a T, palms face the ceiling. Press the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling and just begin to rotate your ankles. Reverse the direction of that ankle rotation. And then let the ankles become still. We're going to do some leg lifts to work on our core strength, and I'll give you some options. Option 1 is going to be the most challenging. You're going to lower both legs until they're 2 inches away from your mat. Bring them back up and repeat. Now you want your low back pressed into the floor when you're doing that, so that you're really using the abdominal muscles. If that's a bit much for your back, you'll lower the right leg till it's 2 inches away from the ground. Bring it back up. Lower the left leg until it's about 2 inches away from the ground. Bring it back up. And just continue to alternate. If you're doing both legs, see if you can do 4 more. If you're doing alternates, see if you can do 2 more on each leg. When you finish, hug the knees into the chest. Keep your knees hugged in. Take the peace fingers of both hands and see if you can grasp those big toes. Extend the heels towards the ceiling and then take the legs out like a V. If you'd like, you can rock side to side here. Start to draw those legs together, arms come together, and start to lower the legs down to the ground as the arms lower up overhead. Take a nice full body stretch here. Bend the knees, placing the soles of the feet on the mat, and then let the soles of the feet come together as those knees open up out to the sides. Your hands can rest anywhere that they're comfortable. Watch the breath flow in through the nose and out through the nose. If any negative thoughts about yourself come into your mind, replace them with positive ones. We're going to begin to transition into Shavasana. Please feel free to grab socks, a sweater, anything that you might need to be comfortable for the next 5 minutes. To take a traditional Shavasana, you'll just extend your legs out nice and long and bring the arms by your sides, palms face the ceiling, but the arms are a few inches away from the body. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, just let it all go. Allow your whole body to just sink into the floor. Relax your jaw by creating a space between the top and bottom rows of teeth. And let the tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth. Resist the urge to make subtle movements. Let your natural breath take over. Rest in Shavasana. slowly start to deepen your breath, becoming aware of the room once again, becoming aware of the body. You can start to make any subtle movements that might feel good, like wiggling the fingers and wiggling the toes. You can rotate through the wrists and the ankles and turn the head gently from side to side. And then stretch through the arms and the legs like you're just waking up. Nice full body stretch. And then roll to the right side in the fetal position. And we'll stay there for a few breaths. Keeping your eyes closed if you'd like. Use the arms to bring yourself back up to a comfortable seated position. Once you get there, you can bring the hands to the heart in Anjali Mudra. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Thank you for practicing Ahimsa, non-harming. And I know when I was talking at the beginning of class, I was kind of all over the place, but I think the biggest thing to remember with Ahimsa, the way I sort of think about it in my mind, it's non-harming in thought, word, and action to yourself and others. And those others include other living beings. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you be free from suffering. May you have ease of well-being. Namaste.